great distance away. I know, Carolyn said, but surely Cousin Barnabas will be returning there, and he could keep an eye on me and show me around. I don't know. His plans seem very vague. He hasn't spoken of returning to England. He seems to have traveled a great deal. He's been everywhere, Carolyn said with girlish enthusiasm. I think he's the most fascinating man I've ever met. Maggie stared out at the ocean, and a lone small sailing ship with red and white sails veering towards the Collinsport harbor. I know how you feel, she said. There's a quality of mystery about him which gives him appeal. I'm sure Mother and Uncle Roger are impressed by him as well, the green-eyed Carolyn said, clasping her hands around her bent, tanned knees. Of course they won't admit it, especially Uncle Roger. He's so determined to be the important one of the family. Maggie laughed. You're becoming quite a judge of character. Not really, Carolyn said. Uncle Roger is pretty obvious, that's all. I enjoy talking to Barnabas, Maggie admitted. Of course you do, Carolyn said. I've seen you two together. You hang on his every word. Why, he knows so much about Collinwood, about its history and those who lived here in the past. Carolyn sighed. He even resembles that painting of his ancestor in the main hallway. He was pleased when I told him that. They probably would have continued their discussion if David hadn't come back. His kite experiment wasn't working out, and he enlisted Maggie's aid to see if together they might get it to fly. Eventually, they did. But by that time, the late afternoon air had been chilled by the approach of fog. A white cloud on the horizon at the start, the rolling mist swept toward the beach, cutting off the overhead sun and making it cold. They had quickly gathered up their things and made their way to the house with the distant foghorn providing a melancholy background sound. By dinner time, the fog had settled thickly. The striking view from Collinwood was shut off by a weird curtain of mist, and the great shade trees dripped with moisture. For some reason, Maggie was caught up by the feeling of restlessness after the evening meal, and taking her rain-cloak, embarked on a solitary stroll. Once outside, she almost decided to give up the idea. The fog was thicker than she'd anticipated. There was almost a drizzle coming down, and it would soon be dark. But she felt the urge to get out of the house and talk to someone. Perhaps Barnabas might be out for his evening walk, she decided, and the prospect of meeting him made up her mind. She lifted the hood of the cloak over her hair and went on down the steps. Since her best hope of meeting him would be on the path between Collinwood and the old house where he lived with his single manservant, she walked that way, past the several outbuildings, and along the narrow path to the ancient dark house. When she came abreast of it, she paused to stare at its somber outline wreathed in the vapory fog. The windows were shuttered and showed no light, giving her the feeling they were heavy-lidded, malevolent eyes. The door was closed and grimly austere. She debated whether to knock. Then the sound of a soft footstep in the shadows behind her made her wheel about. It was Barnabas. Moisture gleamed on his dark hair and on the silver head of the cane he carried. I thought I would be the only one mad enough to be abroad on such an evening, he said, smiling. There's an eerie attraction about a night like this, she confessed. Besides, I hoped that we would meet. I'm glad we have, he said. I was in a somber mood. You will be good for me. Elizabeth has warned me not to stray far from the house, Maggie explained. You've heard about the several attacks made on young women during the past few weeks? Yes, he said. I have heard about them, and I can understand why she would be worried. Maggie smiled apologetically. I don't feel nervous, and nothing really awful happened to those other girls. I think their stories may be made up. They all run along the same lines. One of them may have hit on the idea for attention, and the others repeated her account. Possibly, Barnabas said, studying her. She felt